Good morning once again and welcome to Breakfast with Brian. This is August, and to my surprise it is already the 6th of August. I generally each year have a target to look for at the beginning of September, the first day of spring. And that is now almost upon us, only 3.5 weeks to go. How quickly it's going. Time's a funny thing, isn't it? It's a bit relative. It depends how we see it and what we want as an outcome. I've been reading in the Acts of the Apostles and reading about Stephen, that great Christian of the early Christian era who was stoned to death. But in front of the accusers, he started to relate about the history of the Jewish people. And that apparently was a common thing. It formed the foundation for what was to follow. And the thing that attracted me in this time was, again, the fact that God spoke to Abraham about giving him the land and having a multitude of offspring, and yet all of that was years and years and years down the track. It was at least 450 years down the track. Time, what a long time. You'd think that the people of Israel in Egypt would have been saying, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And humanly speaking, we're like that. There are certain things that we want to happen immediately and other things that we put off and want to put off as long as we possibly can. I remember when my eldest boy, Mark, who is now in his 50s, was a little child, we'd take him out, strap him in his baby seat in the car, and the first thing he would say once he was strapped in was, "When are we going to get home?" That was his target, to get home. He couldn't be concerned about what was going to happen in between, because he didn't really know what was going to happen in between. A bit like us, we don't know what has to happen in between. You see, God has his time for everything. That is the best time. That is the time when it will have the best outcome for everyone. That is a time when, in God's eyes, and no one else's eyes necessarily, the time is ripe. It said about Jesus that when the time was ripe, God sent Jesus. He didn't watch and wait and see when it was going to get ripe. He knew beforehand when it was going to get ripe, and he'd fixed the time, just in the same way that he's fixed the time for Jesus' second coming. Jesus himself said he didn't even know. Only the Father knows. The Father has already fixed the time. We can't delay it. We can't advance it. He is the one who has fixed the time. And it's like the things that happen in our lives. Sometimes we have family matters that, oh Lord, I wish it was all over. I wish we were through this. I wish they would come to their senses. I wish... And we think about it and we long for that time and wanting it to happen. God knows the time when it's going to happen. He knows the time that's best. And he will bring it to pass. Our job in all of this is not to be anxious or to try to make it work, because if we try to make it work, it just ends up in disaster most of the time. But our job is to be at rest in him. Be at rest in him, confident that he knows when and how things are going to happen. being confident that it will happen at the right time. And we sit back and rest. Sure, that's not easy. In fact, as human beings, it's almost an impossibility. But God enables us at times to take that stance, to rest in Him. In other words, trust Him. That's all it means. Trust Him. Have faith in Him, that He is doing the best for you, for your family, for your work situation, for your health, for anything. He is doing the best, and at His time it will happen. We know of a number of people at the moment who are reaching the end of life. They're in age facilities with people looking after them. And sometimes you wonder, Lord, why don't you take them now? What's the object of keeping them alive? God knows. And maybe it's for us to learn how to have patience and to trust them to Him. He knows best for them. So today, let's just take this thought into the rest of the day and tomorrow. God knows best. He's looking after us all. All we have to do is to keep close to Him, to do the things He wants us to do, and to say the things He wants us to do when He wants it. And we will find life works out wonderfully, much better than we could possibly organise. God bless you, and goodbye from Breakfast with Brian.